song Radio Gaga. I know I listened to this the other day. You'll probably heard me sing it, but I love Radio Gaga. I just love Queen. I'm so sad that Freddie Mercury died of AIDS. You know, there was a documentary that I watched on him on YouTube, and it literally made me cry. I was so distraught after I watched that because I think that so many people have so much immense talent, yet they just die. Have you thought about that? Some of the most talented people are just dying on us. I mean, some of the most amazing artists. We lost Whitney Houston, we lost Michael Jackson. The hardest death of an artist, though, was Prince. When Prince died, April 2016, I remember getting that call from my sister because I wasn't on the internet, I wasn't online. And I cried, no lie, for 2.5 hours about his death. There has been no artist that I have loved as much as Prince. I mean, if Shania Twain dies, or Stevie, that's interesting. I don't know why I chose Prince over the others, but Prince has a very specific memory to me, and the association of Prince is very dear because my mother loved Prince, and so of course I'm supposed to love Prince because my mother loved Prince. And something on my camera here, and I just love Prince. I mean, he was the epitome to me of an artist, playing many instruments, being extremely gifted, learning to balance his masculinity with what society deems as inappropriate femininity for a man. And do you know Prince wore this sign on his face, which I don't know if you know the Prince symbol, but you can look it up, the Prince symbol. He wore it on his face to basically boycott the industry because they tried to own him, and they tried to say that his music was not his own, and the music industry was basically making these plans to just own all of his music and say that he can't do what he wants as an artist. And so he wore this sign on his face, which is why it's called the Prince sign, every time he went out during that time to basically express that he was in chains from the music industry. And when he finally liberated himself, he became this he was an amazing artist then, but he really paved the way for artists, in many ways, for artists to own their own creative voice musically. And that's why I love him. I love him as an artist. I mean, don't forget about the fact that he was just incredibly talented and he could play so many instruments. And if you've seen him perform Love Bazaar with Sheila E., oh my goodness. Wow. I mean, just thinking about it now. There isn't a performance that I love that I always go back to. It's Prince at the Alma Awards in 2009. And so it starts off with Sheila E. playing the tambourine. They're coming down the aisle at, I'm guessing, a big theater, stadium, or something like that. Theater-like place. And she's playing the tambourine, followed by all the musicians. And so they play the saxophone, like a few notes, and he says, "Talk to me, Alma!" Oh! And you don't see him, but you're like, that's Prince! And then he comes out. Oh my goodness, his walk is just so classy. And he's wearing this white suit with those little heels on. I just love that man. And I can watch that performance over and over again. Many, many, many performances. But that one, I'm just like, minute. I'm just like, oh my goodness. I just miss that kind of music. And I feel like the music out right now is great. It's amazing. But it's very watered down because I think people's personalities in a way are watered down, even though we seem to be in a place where people can express themselves. But there are still some amazing artists out there, and I do still love music that is not necessarily the most musically abstract, but I do think that I miss a lot of the old 70s, 80s music, and the vibe from that, because the artists then were just not the same as they are now. And I think it's because people had a much higher work ethic. There was so much because there was not technology and there was not Facebook and Instagram and YouTube for people to put out their videos and to put out their music. I think people had to work a lot harder to get out there. And that's why I think artists like Michael Jackson and Prince and Stevie Wonder and these different people, you know, they had to sell albums and promote their work. And a lot of the time it was based on personality, but for the artists that didn't have this amazing personality, they had to do it on their musical capability. And I just am so in awe of that, and I think it's amazing. And I just wanted to make a video on that this morning because I miss good music. I'm going to get back to listening to good music, and music is just an amazing thing. But I'm going to work now, and I am actually going to start singing back in church again. And I've started writing songs. I have been writing. I have written songs, but I have not performed them. And so I'm going to go to some open mics to perform them soon, so that I'm not like, you know, thinking about all this music that I have and not basically expressing myself or showing the music that I have. And it's a lot of really good music and good lyrics. I mean, I think so, but I'm biased because it is my own stuff. So anyways, I'm gonna park now, and I will talk to you later. Have a lovely day.